So of the videos that you've done, do any of them particularly stick out, like any of the topics that you've covered?
Well, last spring I did a little bit of a video on duckweed, which is Lemna minor. It's a little tiny thing that a lot of people don't realize, but it's the smallest flowering plant that you're going to find in North America, and it's just a tiny little green dot that sits in the water. So I decided to just go underwater and start the video popping up out and talk about duckweed and then go back under. So I try to put a little humor into it at times. So.
Well, it's a lot of fun. Sometimes that's what you got to do to get people interested, but I'm sure once they start checking out the videos, like, they have to be hooked. I've never been here. It's my first visit, and I'm hooked. So let's see, things that we haven't covered yet. Is there hunting available?
There is hunting. We do have raccoon hunting here, and that is a drawing where we meet with the raccoon hunters and they pick different days. Raccoon hunting is really, really important to this park because raccoons can get into an overpopulation situation. Raccoons carry several different diseases that they can transmit: canine distemper, roundworm, all kinds of parasitic diseases. And so to keep the population smaller, there'll be healthier raccoons. And raccoons at times in a park setting can overbreed, and then you leave your cooler out in the campground and they're going to eat everything in your cooler.
I was just going to say that.
Exactly.
Besides the diseases they carry, if you turn your back, your Doritos or your chips, whatever, those are gone.
Anything, yeah. And now raccoons, they're a relative to the bear. They don't have saliva glands, or not much saliva glands. So they always have to kind of dip their food in water as they eat it. Raccoons can be a pest in a campground, and the coon hunters here have really neat dogs that can sniff out raccoons, and they make this loud bark, and you can hear it just echoing through the whole park. So that's kind of an interesting thing. We also have archery deer hunting.
Okay.
And that's kind of a popular program here. A long time ago, we set up the archery deer hunting to start November 1st. And that gave people in the campgrounds and the trails enough time to, not have to worry about archery hunters. But usually the first week in November, we get quite a few archery hunters, and we can take up to 25 a day. And we have a relatively healthy deer population in this park. They're not overpopulated. They don't overbrowse things. So it's a good thing. And to keep that deer population healthy, you have to keep it to not overpopulate. So our bow hunters are, and I see them every year come back, and it's always good to see them. We get bow hunters from Michigan. We get bow hunters from Louisiana, from Virginia, from all over the place, Alabama, Mississippi.
Goodness.
All kinds of places all over the country. They come here to bow hunt. So that is kind of neat when they come back. They come here every year.
Yeah. In our last couple of minutes here, I have to ask, has there been any monster bucks that's come out of Lincoln Trail?
There has been a couple, yeah. There has been a couple monster bucks. I haven't seen any yet, but it's early. But we'll probably see some eventually. So that's all big blue stem. That's the state grass of Illinois. That's a native grass. For every grass that you see, 85% of our native grasses in Illinois are underground in the form of roots. 15% is above ground, as what you see on top. And so that means that for every ounce of grass material we have on top, we've got 5.66 ounces of roots that go down deep. So some of the grasses that we have in Illinois, in some of our remnant prairies, are older than any oak tree we have. They could be thousands of years old. And if you want to talk about carbon sequestration, right here, the Illinois prairie and the Illinois prairie grasses, because those roots die off every 3 years, they kind of recycle themselves. More roots come in, and then they decompose underground, and that's where we get our some of the best farmland that the world has ever seen. But that is, you're literally taking carbon dioxide out of fresh air, being fixed into the plant through through photosynthesis and being put back into the roots. And that's the beauty of the Illinois prairie. It's the most carbon fixing organism we have on the planet. If I keep talking about plants, we'll never finish this trail. We put this trail in about 5 years ago, and it had a lot of mud, and so doing the treatments that we've done with the rock and such here has really improved it a lot. So it'll be useful, you know, throughout the whole year. We won't be able to, I mean, we won't have as much mud, which we've had before.
That's nice.
Which is nice. But, you know, you go out on the trail, sometimes there's mud. There's, on the trail, there's a lot of pines that were planted in the 1970s. I was told that they're called Loblolly Pines. And they were, like I said, they were planted in the 1970s. Here's one right here, and there's one right there. A certain portion of the airstrip trail, it's really kind of cool because you feel like you're in the North Woods because you just smell all that pine, those pine needles. And you can see there's a lot of pine needles on the ground too. So that's just one of those scents or those, you know, things that you can smell when you're out here on this trail.
Makes me think of Christmas.
Yes, exactly. So most of the trail is all level, you know, because airstrips are usually pretty level. So some folks that can't really handle hills and stuff, once we get the benches in, they'll be able to walk for a while and have a seat, and it won't be rough on them, you know. That'll be good.
Yeah, it's definitely nice that there's opportunities for people who are at all skill levels. So.
Yes, exactly.
From beginner to your triathletes.
I'd love to see somebody have a running race here one of these days, you know, turn it into a 10K and such, you know, but we'll see, you know. It's still kind of new, you know, hopefully people just get used to the airstrip trail.
Yeah.
I'll stop real quick here.
Sure.
And right here, this is a great shrub. This is the sassafras, and it smells incredible. So go ahead and smell that. Now the sassafras was actually introduced to the settlers of New Orleans by the Choctaw Indians. The bark of this was powdered, and that's what we call gumbo filet. So the Choctaw Indians taught the settlers how to use that and put that in their gumbo. You know, Louisiana's like multicultural from all over, and gumbo filet, an ingredient of that, you know, dish of New Orleans, was introduced by the, you know, sassafras and the Choctaw Indians. We've got sassafras everywhere out here. It's really a nice shrub, in my opinion.
Smells pretty good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.